The hunting grounds. The Crithian observation vessel hung silently above Earth, its crystalline hull refracting starlight into rainbow patterns. Inside the command sphere, Hunt Master Zale studied the blue planet below with hungry anticipation. His four eyes gleamed with excitement as he watched millions of human settlements scattered across the continents. Perfect specimens, Zale clicked his mandibles together in satisfaction. Small, soft-bodied, no natural weapons. They will make excellent additions to the great hunt. His second-in-command, Vrex, adjusted the scanning equipment. Hunt Master, preliminary biological analysis confirms they are ideal prey species. Weak skeletal structure, thin skin, slow regeneration rates. They rely heavily on primitive tools for survival. Zale had been a hunt master for 3 centuries. He had overseen the harvesting of 17 different species for the Crithian Empire's legendary hunting reserves. Each new species brought glory and honor to those who captured them. But humans promised to be special. The Crithian Empire. The Crithian civilization had built their entire culture around the hunt. For 10,000 years, they had traveled the galaxy seeking new prey species to add to their vast hunting preserves. These weren't simple animals, the Crithians prided themselves on hunting sentient beings, creatures intelligent enough to fear their predators. "How many shall we take?" Vrex asked, preparing the capture protocols. 1 million should suffice for the initial harvest, Zale decided. We will take them from various regions to ensure genetic diversity. The breeding programs can expand the population later. The Crithians had perfected their harvesting techniques over millennia. They would stun entire population centers with neural disruptors, then transport the unconscious beings to their hunting worlds. By the time the prey species realized what had happened, they would wake up in artificial environments designed to test their survival skills against Crithian hunters. First contact gone wrong. Commander Sarah Mitchell stood in the United Earth Defense Command Center, staring at the massive alien ship that had appeared in orbit 3 hours ago. As humanity's chief diplomat for extraterrestrial contact, she had dreamed of this moment her entire career. But something felt wrong. "They're not responding to any of our communication attempts," reported Lieutenant Davis from the communications station. "We've tried every frequency, every mathematical sequence, every universal greeting protocol we've developed." Sarah frowned. Most first contact scenarios predicted that advanced aliens would establish communication before any other interaction. This silent observation was unsettling. "What are their scanning patterns showing?" she asked. The tactical officer brought up a holographic display. "They're conducting detailed biological scans of population centers worldwide. Specifically, they're analyzing human physiology, population density, and settlement patterns." Sarah's blood ran cold. She had studied enough xenobiology to recognize predatory behavior. These aliens weren't exploring, they were hunting. The harvest begins. Without warning, the Crithian ship activated its neural disruptor field. Across 12 major cities on 5 continents, humans suddenly collapsed where they stood. The invisible energy wave shut down conscious thought while keeping bodily functions active. In London, millions of people crumpled in the streets. In Tokyo, entire skyscrapers filled with unconscious workers. In New York, traffic came to a halt as drivers slumped over their wheels. The same scene repeated across the globe. Transport beams shimmered from the Crithian vessel, pulling unconscious humans into cargo holds. Men, women, and children vanished by the thousands, transported into alien containment cells designed to hold livestock. But the Crithians made one critical error in their calculations. The neural disruptor field had a limited range. They could only target 12 cities simultaneously. The rest of humanity remained conscious and aware. Humanity's response. In the UEDC Command Center, Sarah watched in horror as tracking systems showed nearly 1 million human life signs disappearing from sensors. The alien ship's cargo holds were filling with her people. "Get me the Security Council now," she shouted. "And activate all military assets worldwide. This is not first contact, this is an invasion." Within minutes, every military installation on Earth went to full alert. Fighter jets scrambled from bases across the planet. Naval fleets moved into defensive positions. Satellite weapons systems came online. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for the possibility of hostile alien contact. Now that preparation would be tested. General Marcus Torres burst into the command center. "What are we dealing with?" "They're kidnapping our people," Sarah reported, her voice steady despite her fear. "Nearly 1 million civilians taken in the first wave. Analysis suggests they're treating us like cattle." Marcus studied the tactical displays showing the alien vessel. "Cattle don't shoot back. Let's remind them what apex predators look like." The Hunt Master's surprise. Zale was pleased with the initial harvest. The humans had been even easier to capture than expected. Their cities had offered no resistance, and the specimens were already secured in stasis fields aboard his ship. "Prepare for departure," Zale ordered. "We have what we came for. Set course for Hunting World 7. But then his tactical displays lit up with warnings. Hundreds of primitive aircraft were approaching his vessel. They were launching chemical rockets armed with explosive warheads. "Hunt Master!" Vrex called out in alarm. "The remaining prey population is attacking us." Zale watched with amusement as the missiles approached. Human weapons were laughably primitive compared to Crithian shields. The explosions would be spectacular but harmless. The first wave of missiles struck the Crithian ship. The shields absorbed the impacts easily, just as Zale expected. But then something unexpected happened. The missiles weren't designed to penetrate shields, they were designed to blind sensors. Electromagnetic pulses flooded the area around the ship. Chemical explosives created debris clouds. Chaff and flares filled space with interference. Within seconds, the Crithian sensors were completely overwhelmed. "What is this?" Zale demanded. "These are prey animals. They should be cowering in fear, not attacking." But humanity had learned a hard lesson over thousands of years of warfare: when attacked by a superior force, blind them first. The escalation. While the Crithians struggled to clear their sensors, Earth's real weapons activated. High-energy lasers fired from ground installations, targeting the alien ship's propulsion systems. Railguns launched kinetic projectiles at a fraction of light speed. Nuclear missiles armed with shaped charges streaked toward specific weak points identified by analysis algorithms. Zale felt his ship shudder under the assault. This wasn't possible. Prey species didn't have this level of military technology. They didn't coordinate this effectively. They didn't fight back. "Shields holding at 85%, Vrex reported. "But Hunt Master, these humans have extensive weapons systems. Our databases showed them as a primitive species." "Primitive?" Zale stared at the tactical display in disbelief. "They have orbital defense networks, satellite weapons platforms, and coordinated global military command structures. How is this primitive?" Another volley of human weapons struck the ship. The shields dropped to 70%, then 60%. Alarm systems began wailing throughout the vessel. Zale made a decision that went against every instinct of his warrior culture. "Activate emergency jump protocols. Get us out of this system now." But humanity wasn't finished. As the Crithian ship began charging its faster-than-light drive, specially designed missiles armed with EMP warheads detonated around it. The electromagnetic pulses disrupted the delicate quantum field necessary for FTL travel. The Crithian ship was trapped. The tables turn. Sarah watched from the command center as military forces worldwide converged on the alien vessel. "They wanted to hunt us," she said quietly. "They thought we were prey. They have no idea what humans really are." General Torres nodded grimly. "We've been predators since we climbed down from the trees. We hunted mammoths to extinction. We turned wolves into dogs. We conquered every environment on our planet. And now these aliens think they can treat us like livestock?" On his ship, Zale finally understood the magnitude of his mistake. The Crithians had harvested dozens of species over thousands of years. They had encountered prey animals that could use tools, prey that lived in societies, even prey that had basic space travel. But they had never encountered a species like humanity. Humans weren't just tool users, they were weapon makers. They didn't just have societies, they had military organizations refined through thousands of years of constant warfare. They weren't just spacefaring, they had turned their entire orbital space into a defensive perimeter. "Hunt Master," Vrex said, his voice shaking. "I'm detecting multiple human vessels approaching. They appear to be military spacecraft." Zale watched as Earth's small fleet of warships moved into position around his vessel. They were primitive compared to Crithian technology, but there were so many of them. And they were coordinating their attack patterns with frightening efficiency. A communication channel opened. A human female appeared on the screen, her face showing cold determination. "Attention Crithian vessel," Sarah said. "You have kidnapped 1 million human citizens. You have exactly 1 hour to return every single one of them alive and unharmed. If you comply, we will allow you to leave our system. If you refuse, we will destroy your ship and everyone aboard it." Zale wanted to laugh at the audacity of prey animals making demands. But as he looked at the weapons pointed at his ship, at the determination in the human's eyes, at the coordinated military response from a supposedly primitive species, he realized something terrifying. Humans weren't prey. They were predators pretending to be prey. And he had just made the worst mistake of his life. The negotiation. Hunt Master Zale sat in his command sphere, surrounded by displays showing human military assets. Every passing minute brought more weapons online. Orbital platforms adjusted their aim. Ground-based lasers tracked his ship's position. Human warships formed a tightening net around his vessel. "Hunt Master, we must respond to their ultimatum," Vrex urged. His mandibles clicked nervously. "Our shields are at 45% and dropping. If they fire again, we may not survive." Zale had never faced this situation before. In 3 centuries of harvesting operations, no prey species had ever fought back effectively. They ran, they hid, they begged, but they never organized a military response within hours of first contact. "Open a channel," Zale ordered reluctantly. Commander Sarah Mitchell's face reappeared on the screen. Behind her, Zale could see a room full of human military officers studying tactical displays. They weren't panicking. They weren't afraid. They were planning how to destroy his ship most efficiently. "I am Hunt Master Zale of the Crithian Empire," he began, trying to maintain his dignity. "You must understand, we mean no permanent harm to your species. The harvested humans would have been transported to preserved worlds where they would live in carefully maintained habitats." "Zoos," Sarah interrupted, her voice cold. "You're describing zoos. Or more accurately, hunting reserves where your people could track and kill us for sport." Zale's silence confirmed her assessment. "Let me explain something about humans," Sarah continued. "We've been hunting since before we developed language. We hunted creatures larger, faster, and stronger than ourselves. We developed weapons specifically to kill things that could kill us. We turned warfare into a science. And most importantly, we never, ever forget when someone hurts our people." The revelation. General Torres stepped into view beside Sarah. "We've analyzed your ship's database. We know about your great hunt tradition. We know you've harvested 17 other species. And we know where you've taken them." Zale felt his internal organs contract with fear. If humans had accessed their database, they knew everything about Crithian hunting worlds, the location of the Empire's home systems, and the defensive capabilities of their fleets. "You have a choice," Torres said. "Return our people now, and provide coordinates to every hunting world where you're holding other sentient species. Do this, and we'll let you go home. Refuse, and we'll take the information by force, after we destroy your ship." "You wouldn't dare attack a Crithian vessel," Zale tried to sound confident. "We are one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. Our military power is legendary." Sarah smiled without humor. We've studied your combat records. You've never fought a real war. You hunt defenseless prey. You've never faced an enemy that fights back with organized military tactics. You're not warriors, you're bullies. And bullies fold when someone punches them in the face. The release. Zale knew he had no choice. His ship was crippled, surrounded, and outgunned. More importantly, Earth's defense network was still growing stronger. Human manufacturing facilities were producing weapons at an alarming rate. Every hour he delayed, humanity became more dangerous. I will return your people, Zale said, his voice heavy with defeat. But you must guarantee safe passage for my vessel and crew. Agreed, Sarah replied. But we're keeping the data from your ship's computers. Every species you've kidnapped deserves rescue. And we're going to make sure the galaxy knows what the Crithian Empire really is. Over the next 6 hours, transport beams returned unconscious humans to their cities of origin. Medical teams waited to receive them, checking for injuries or alterations. Remarkably, all 1 million captives were returned alive. The Crithians, for all their cruelty, were efficient livestock handlers. As the last human was returned, Sarah opened the channel one final time. You're free to go, Hunt Master. But deliver a message to your empire. Humanity is not prey. We're predators. And if you ever come near our world again, we won't just defend ourselves, we'll hunt you. The Crithian ship limped away from Earth, its shields barely functional, its crew traumatized by their encounter with a species that refused to be victims. The liberation. But humanity wasn't finished. The data stolen from the Crithian vessel contained coordinates for 17 hunting preserve worlds. On each planet, captured species lived in artificial habitats, hunted regularly by Crithian nobles for sport. Admiral Jessica Chen commanded humanity's first liberation fleet. 5 warships, hastily upgraded with reverse-engineered alien technology, jumped to the nearest hunting world. Hunting World 3 was a massive planet engineered to contain different environments. Forests, deserts, oceans, and mountains all existed within energy barriers that kept the prey species separated. In these artificial habitats lived the Velan, a peaceful herbivorous species whose home world had been harvested 200 years ago. All ships, battle formation, Admiral Chen ordered. Target the automated defense platforms first. We're not leaving until every captive is freed. The Crithian defenses were designed to keep prey species in, not to repel military assault. Human weapons tore through shields and armor with ruthless efficiency. Within an hour, the orbital platforms were destroyed and landing craft were descending to the surface. First liberation. Captain Rodriguez led the first ground team into a Velan habitat. The deer-like aliens watched with confusion and fear as humans in combat armor approached. They had been taught that all bipedal visitors were Crithian hunters. We're here to help, Rodriguez said through the translation device. We're taking you home. The eldest Velan approached cautiously. Home? Her voice trembled. Our world was destroyed generations ago. We have no home. Then you'll have a choice, Rodriguez replied. Come with us to Earth, or we'll find you a new world to colonize. Either way, you're free. The hunting ends today. Tears streamed down the Velan's face as she realized the humans spoke truth. The prey species were being rescued by other prey, except humans weren't prey at all. The message spreads. News of humanity's liberation campaign spread through the galaxy like wildfire. The Crithian Empire, exposed as predators who hunted sentient beings, faced immediate condemnation from every major civilization. Trade embargoes were established. Diplomatic relations severed. Ancient alliances dissolved. But the real shock came when other species heard what humans had done. A newly contacted species, barely capable of space travel, had not only defended themselves against an ancient empire but had launched a military campaign to rescue other victims. In the crystalline towers of the Zenturi Federation, Chancellor Revo convened an emergency council. The humans fought off a harvesting operation within hours of first contact. They reverse-engineered Crithian technology in days. They've liberated 4 hunting worlds in 2 weeks. What kind of species accomplishes this? Ambassador Lyra pulled up Earth's historical database, now available on galactic networks. According to their records, humans have been in constant warfare for their entire civilization. Over 15,000 recorded conflicts. They've developed more weapon types than most species have encountered in their entire history. They evolved on a death world, military analyst Korn added. Their planet had predators that hunted them, diseases that killed them, weather that could freeze or bake them. They survived by becoming the most dangerous predator in their environment. Chancellor Revo studied images of human soldiers liberating captured species. We need to make contact with Earth. If they're liberating Crithian victims, they're already acting as a galactic police force. We should support them, or at least make sure they don't consider us enemies. The Crithian response. On the Crithian home world, Emperor Thaxon received reports of the liberation campaign with growing rage. One newly contacted species is destroying our empire's foundation. How is this possible? Supreme Hunt Master Kelvin delivered the bitter truth. Your Majesty, we have never fought a species capable of organized warfare. Our entire military is designed for hunting operations, not actual combat. The humans have centuries of experience fighting wars against their own kind. They know tactics we never developed because we never needed them. Then we will learn, Thaxon declared. Mobilize the fleet. We will strike Earth directly and show these upstart prey animals what true power means. But Kelvin shook his head. Your Majesty, I must advise against that course. Our intelligence shows that Earth has been mass-producing weapons since our first encounter. They've upgraded their entire defense network with reverse-engineered technology. If we attack Earth directly, we may lose our entire battle fleet. Thaxon slammed his claws against his throne. Are you saying we should surrender to prey animals? I'm saying we misjudged what prey means, Kelvin replied quietly. Humans aren't prey. They're apex predators. And we just made them very, very angry. The new alliance. 6 months after the first contact disaster, representatives from Earth met with delegates from the freed species at a neutral station. The Velan, the insectoid cliques, the aquatic Durrani, and 14 other liberated races gathered to discuss their future. Sarah Mitchell, now promoted to Ambassador for Extraterrestrial Affairs, addressed the assembly. Humanity didn't free you to create an empire of our own. We freed you because it was the right thing to do. Every sentient species deserves the chance to determine its own destiny. The Velan representative stood. Ambassador Mitchell, your species risked war with an ancient empire to save strangers. This is not the behavior of predators, it is the behavior of protectors. We wish to formalize an alliance with humanity. One by one, the liberated species voiced their agreement. They had been prey for so long that freedom felt strange. But with human protection and support, they could rebuild their civilizations. We accept, Sarah replied. But understand this, we won't be your rulers. We'll be your partners and defenders. If you want independence, you'll have it. If you want assistance rebuilding, we'll provide it. All we ask is that you never forget what it means to be hunted, and that you never become hunters yourselves. The warning. The Galactic Defense Coalition, as the Alliance came to be called, sent a message to every known civilization. It was broadcast on all frequencies, translated into every language, and delivered with humanity's characteristic directness. This is Ambassador Sarah Mitchell of Earth, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Defense Coalition. We are 17 species united by a common experience. We were all targeted by predators. We were hunted, captured, and treated as less than sentient beings. But we are free now. And we have a message for every civilization in the galaxy: the age of predator empires is over. Any species that treats sentient beings as prey will face the consequences. We will find you, we will stop you, and we will free your victims. To peaceful civilizations, we extend our friendship. To predatory empires, we offer one warning: humans are predators too. But we hunt hunters. And we never stop until justice is served. The Hunt Master's reflection. Hunt Master Zale watched the human broadcast from his cell on the Crithian homeworld. He had been imprisoned for his failure, awaiting trial for losing an entire harvesting operation. But as he listened to Ambassador Mitchell's words, Zale understood that his failure was inevitable. The Crithians had spent 10,000 years hunting prey that couldn't fight back. They had grown complacent, convinced of their superiority. Then they encountered humans, a species that had spent its entire existence as both hunter and hunted. Humans understood survival in a way the Crithians never could. They knew what it meant to be prey, and they had dedicated their civilization to ensuring they would never be prey again. The irony was perfect. The Crithians had come to Earth hunting for prey and had instead found apex predators. The hunters had become the hunted. The new era. 1 year after first contact, Earth's defense fleet patrolled not just humanity's solar system but also protected the worlds of their allies. Human engineers helped rebuild destroyed civilizations. Human teachers shared knowledge about defense and military tactics. Human diplomats worked tirelessly to build a coalition based on mutual protection rather than dominance. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the UEDC flagship, watching a Velan colony ship depart for their new homeworld. "We came so close to being victims," she said to her first officer. "If the Crithians had succeeded, 1 million humans would be living in cages right now." "But they didn't succeed," her officer replied. "Because humans never learned how to be prey. We've always been survivors." Chen nodded. "And now we're making sure no one else has to learn that lesson the hard way." In the depths of space, the Galactic Defense Coalition continued growing. More species joined every month, some seeking protection, others offering their own strengths to the Alliance. And at the center of it all was humanity, the species that refused to be prey and instead became protectors. The galaxy had learned an important lesson: never assume humans are helpless. We've been fighting for survival since we developed consciousness. We've turned warfare into art, defense into science, and survival into instinct. The Crithians came to hunt humans. Instead, they taught the galaxy what happens when you mistake human compassion for weakness. We don't hunt for sport. We don't prey on the defenseless. But when someone threatens us or those under our protection, we become the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. Because humans aren't prey. We're the hunters who protect the hunted. And that makes all the difference. The end.